I'm Nick G. This is my couch. I'm Nick G, the dude on the couch. I'm doing a 10-minute joint, and I am looking at the clock. I am staying to 10 minutes. Can you dig it? I can dig it. All right. The first thing I want to talk about is this week has just been wild to me. My online presence, my intellectual concept has been online, and it has been kind of a rad week. And I'll explain that to you right now. See, I was radicalized a little bit. Like it was kind of a slow build. It started with Maya Bialik saying something where she made like this little short saying, when they say Jew, they mean Zionist. When they say Zionist, they mean Jew. And it blew my fucking mind. I was like, what world of ridiculousness has this highly educated person, neurosurgeon, neuro whatever? She does brain crap. I don't do brain crap. I work in a fucking paper mill and I work my fucking Fred Flintstone muscles because that's my wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? So this highly intellectual, highly educated piece of paper that she paid for that hangs on her wall somewhere, not my place, her place. And she is saying some of the most ignorant shit. Boop, blew my mind. One, she is in a cult. One, boop, she is in a cult. She is in a cult that she has been indoctrinated into since she was born. That is not an opinion. That is evident. Okay, so then my guy Lawrence Winterman, big fan, love his stuff, love the Daily Whatever, love Dana Dubois, and all that. So Lawrence, he made a video, Zionist, and I'm like, hey, my guy, what I gathered from your thing, and when I say what I gathered from Lawrence's piece, and I watched the video 2 or 3 times, I went through line by line in the transcript so that I could, digest, I could think about, I could see the core of what this moment to this moment to this moment was. I got to points where things didn't reconcile. And I'm going to say this, and this is not denigration of Lawrence. This is not denigration. We are all one, ones of one. When I'm speaking to somebody else, I, one of one, am speaking to one of one, which is why it's so easy for me to talk to people. At any given moment, I'm speaking to one person, me. So when I'm speaking to somebody else, and they have all their different culture concept and whatever, my friendliness and genuinity, I made it up, I like it, I'm doing it, is based on me. I take delight in things. I have a favorite flavor of cereal. You know what I'm saying? When I'm watching somebody do something, when I watch the expression on their face, it does this to me. So when I'm speaking to somebody else, I'm speaking to myself as myself of myself. And then how it bounces back is how we do. So I'm talking about my dude, Lawrence Winterman. Like I say, big fan. Actually, I think the thing that makes me laugh inside my brains is when he's wearing his bear baseball cap. I mean, I'm a communications guy. Everything is everything. And yeah, that genuinely makes me laugh. But anyway, he wrote a piece. And to me, and I am not denigrating his perspective, we are all of our own. But to me, when I heard what he was saying, my interpretation was he didn't like being called Zionist as a Jew. And I don't like being. Look, man, I was a cheerleader in high school. I always liked to hang out with girls more than dudes. I thought dudes were stupid, and at least with girls, I got to look at and be around pretty people. For the life of me, I don't understand what women see in dudes at all. Like at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's got to be some incentive because when I look at us, it's like we're just shy of like beasts. You know what I mean? I don't get it. There's women clicking a pow, and then there's dudes. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what keeps me from looking at adult stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to see some meaty fuck. Who the fuck cares about this guy? Show me the girls. You know what I'm saying? But you need the dude for the but anyway, it's useless to me. So Lawrence Winterman's piece, he didn't like being called out. I liked hanging around with girls growing up. I like to be around women. I like to talk to women. I like to listen to, songs that women sing. That's straight up my vibe. I prefer a female interface. I got called a fag growing up my entire life. And it was funny because Like I said, I was a cheerleader in high school, and I'd be making out with the dude's girlfriend who was calling me a fag over here. You know what I'm saying? People don't define you. Even when you define yourself, you're wrong. You're projecting. As soon as you define something, you have made a mistake. So Mayim Bialik was like, what the fuck? Lawrence wrote his piece, and I says, my guy, let me just say this. This is the definition of Zionism. This is what you are saying. There was a space, and I continued on the space. And like I told him, because me and him, we dialogued a little bit, I says, we're on the same page. We're in the same book. I corrected a typo. Then, I'm trying to think, what was my next Israel piece? I listened to a conversation with Julie Roginski and Joel Rubin. Julie Roginski of the Mayday Network, formerly of like Fox News, CNN contributor. You've seen her, you know her, you love her. I love her. I think she's so intellectually cool. I think that when she talks about her familial path from Romania, from Russia, anyway, when I listen to that shit, my ears wide open because I'm interested. That's not your everyday news parlance. But then when I'm listening to these two people, Joel Rubin, DNC operative, Democratic operative, his gig is making sure that there's always pro-Israel conversations, handshakes, and all that. So I'm listening to this conversation. I'm listening to them talk about the bubbies. They're listening to them talk about their emotional path in the 40s, the emotional path in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Here in America, Julie Roginski asked this insane question. What are we supposed to do? Go knock on Romania? Bum, bum, bum. We need our house back. I'm like, this is the stupidest. Man, I got fired up. This is the stupidest argument that I have heard. You know what I'm saying? Why? Why is that valid to this individual who we tune in on Mayday in the morning? Is it 10 o'clock? I stopped going because Michelle Kinney blocks me. I unsubscribed from Julie Roginski because I couldn't get in the chat, because as soon as I would enter the chat and there was this incident, we're in a different chat, me and a bunch of the homies from Substack. We go over to the Mayday chat, and I literally watch Michelle beep, boop, boop, and I could see all my friends chatting, and I could not. Michelle blocked me. I'm okay with that. I think she's stupid. I mean that in the most disrespectful way. Julie Roginski is like smart to me. You know, like Sherman. No, not Sherman. Professor Peabody. Yes, Sherman, yes. Professor Peabody, the dog. And Michelle, to me, is like her boy Sherman. Wow. Oh, my God. I saw this on Instagram. I saw this on the Bulwark, CNN. And it is just some of the most ignorant corporate narrative bullshit that Michelle brings into the chat. I don't give a fuck. I'll disrespect her all fucking day. But when I listen to her, Michelle Kinney has an accent from my region, Dilligav. You cannot tell me different. When I hear her speak, I hear my cultural area. And I'd write about that in the chat. Hey, this sounds like. Because that's what I do. I trend. I'll walk into an aisle in Target. I will see 10 people, and I will tell you what color is missing. Boom. As soon as I walk in, hey, there's not an ounce of purple in this aisle. Because that's how I do. That's the Nick experience. So I wrote this piece about Julie Roginski. It fucking radicalized me. Israel is the bad guy in America. We're bombing Iran. Iran is bombing our shit. We are infiltrated by Russia. You know what I'm saying? Israel is our biggest fucking enemy right now. They censor our American speech. They censor the people that we elect such that they cannot perform our wishes. This is Israel. You can say you don't like Netanyahu. You can say you don't like AIPAC. The money. When I train my GPTs, I always explain to them, I don't want rhetoric. I don't want hyperbole. I don't want juxtaposition. I want fact patterns, trends, and definitions. Go to the people that invented the concept and said, this is X, and define it. Fact pattern and trend, what is happening, XYZ, 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 XYZ. I notice a pattern, right? Israel is the fucking bad guy. Israel is not about Judaism. You listen to what we're talking about with our parties. Republicans, thank God I'm a Republican. Democrats are so blah, 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 blah. I always make the joke, nobody wakes up a Democrat that isn't paid to be a Democrat. There's reason. Political parties are private clubs that get together to keep you out of the election. It started at the Lily White primary down in the South. After Reconstruction, they didn't want black people picking black people. So they would pool all their rich people money. They would pick their white ass candidate that was all about property owners and money people. And they would campaign them on their little trains, on their soapboxes. And that's how we got our candidates. We got to pick from the people they gave us to pick from, instead of picking our representation. So the Democratic Party, again, is a private club that's intended to keep you out. So all these idiots, former campaign people, former opposition, they're going on our national and corporate and media and access legacy trad media, and they're saying what you need to do for the Democrats. The Democrats ain't shit. The Democrats ain't shit. Do you get dividends from that Coca-Cola that you drank last night? Do you get dividends? If you're from our region, we don't have Coca-Cola. We are a Pepsi region. The entire United States, Coca-Cola is numero uno in the cola wars, and my area is the Pepsi place. So when you drink that Pepsi Cola, when you're at Sushawa over there on Broad Street, Main Street in Fort Edward, do you get dividends? That's like us voting for a fucking party. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Blessing K Joy. Hello. That's what we get when we're voting for our parties. We're getting a choice of Coke and Pepsi, of which we get no dividends, but we do get diabetes. You know what I'm saying? And that's ours. So we're censored. We can't speak about Israel. We're censored. We can't say Zionism. We're censored that we can't correct Jewish people from a cult that they were raised in when they say the wrong definition of Zionism to Jew. I'm saying it. Zionist is not Jewish. I'll say it again. Zionist is not Jewish. Zionist is bloodthirsty. Zionist is a death cult. Zionist is Jim Crow apartheid racism with a Jew sticker put on it that has nothing to do with the Torah. That has nothing to do with praise of God. I've spent the last 24 hours saying from the river to the sea because it clicked. It clicked. If you are not pro-Palestinian, you're either ignorant or in on it. If you are not anti-Israel, you are either ignorant or in on it. If you can't hear me speak, and I am radicalized. Now I laugh because I in my head I hear Amanda Seales. What radicalized you? And before this, I was like, Amanda Seales radicalized me. I heard her say some shit, and I'm like, you mean what? This conversation between DNC, Democratic operative, Jew, pro-Israel, Joel Rubin, and pro-Israel, Julie Roginski from the Mayday Network, Jew, blew my fucking mind. And I want to correct something. Between the two of them, if you trace my genetics all the way back, I am 99% Jew. You don't find Romanian, you don't find Russian, you don't find Yerba, you don't find nothing. I am 99% Ashkenazi Jew. So I did a little research because the Ashkenazi were sorted out. Even when Israel happened, the Ashkenazi were the black people, the brown people, they were the outsiders. You dig what I'm saying? So they're bragging about the civil rights that they had to fight for with all of the prestige of the whiteness that they have now in 2026. With that being said, you cannot be 99% Ashkenazi Jew because you're delusional. Because the Middle East people, they were breeding with European people. What the fuck? How you going to be a cult? How you going to be so misinformed? Put your face on a screen with your pieces of paper behind you that you paid for, with your fame, with your big rock on your finger, because money, money, money. How you going to do that and just straight up say bullshit? We make the joke. I'm from Glens Falls. We make the joke about West End people being stupid. The rest of the world makes the joke about Southern people. We make the same joke about the West End. But that's what they say. It's the word bud. B-U-D, bud. And it's a long O sometimes. You be talking to somebody and you hear the stank in my voice. Yeah, it's a West End. You can pick them up. Hey, dog. Hey, what's up, bud? Ignorant shit. We are tuning into people who we have always trusted, people who left the bad places to come to our new good places so they can be free. And they're saying the same ignorant shit that they were paid and brainwashed and cultivated into. Dig it? I'm a dude on the couch. I can show you. It's sitting right here. I get no payments. As a matter of fact, I am 325 subscriptions from going to a paid tier. At 1,000, I will make a paid tier because I got people reading my shit. They should be able to help support me sitting on my couch. Right. That's cool. I dig it. But it's not about the money. It's about sharing, communicating, being part of a community that has explanations, not hyperbole, not juxtaposition, and not rhetoric. Which brings me to, if I may, and this is my closing. Aside from Israel, from the river to the sea, aside from Israel, I've been writing about the Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pakman, and the new echelon of new media that's joining them. Jack Cocherella. Who else am I thinking of? Jack Cocherella. Anyway, all those guys, all the white men that get their faces on there and they speak to us about Brian Tyler Cohen's book. The Democrats, they need to do better. They need to pull together. We can fight this. Dude writes a book about how to win an election, and then Brian Tyler Cohen goes on with Waj and says, I don't know, man. Foreign policy isn't my shtick. And then talks about all of the foreign policy. The Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen and David Pakman. They did a thing over at the White House, and in this meet and greet, they communed together and they decide, I don't know who else, I just know from an email that a former producer for David Pakman had read out loud. They had said, let's just not cover Israel, let's not cover Gaza. So when people say, hey man, they said this headline, they aren't. They're doing hyperbole, rhetoric, juxtaposition. This person said, this person said, this person said. Midas Touch, the entire cohort, and they're all connected to the Democratic Party. Why do I say that? Because Brian Tyler Cohen was hired by the Democratic Party for Kamala Harris. Brian Tyler Cohen, and he's in all these groups that are to the average listener, yes, I want these policies moved forward, but it's not their policies, man. It's not their policies. You know, like people bash on Hassan Abi. If you listen to Hassan Piker's shit, he knows his shit. I don't like listening to him lately anymore because I don't want to watch a full fucking episode of goddamn Hannity so I can hear that ignorant stupid just to hear a smart guy say some smart stuff. I just don't. I kind of hang out till I get to one of his speeches at a thing because that's usually valuable. But anyway, I got to get going. Midas is not good. Katie Fang, good. Allison Gill, good. And good. Midas Touch is trash. Brian Tyler Cohen is a network. Did you guys know Mark Elias is actually the lawyer for like the all the not the Democratic Party itself, but all the peripheral Democratic organizations? Mark Elias is the lawyer. Now, how did I learn about this and why am I going to paint him in this way? Because through Mark Elias, through the Mark Elias group, that's how the cutouts of dark money got. So when you heard about Chorus, which was sponsoring a lot of Democratic mouthpieces, people we like, Politics Girl, Elizabeth Booker Houston, Lauren P., you know what I mean? Good stuff, right? Good stuff. But 1630, the group that funded Chorus, right? That's a dark money group that a guy from the Elias group helped design so that 5 people could be the majority of funding for this independent influencer group. Not to mention now that all of them, see, Brian Tyler Cohen, Crooked, The Bulwark, they all have network deals with MS Now and CNN. Now, with Midas Touch in that, where the banding is, where those groups come together with Midas Touch as the network, Midas Touch is now sponsored by George Soros. They're getting money from George Soros. So if you know anything about Sinclair Broadcasting, where new media has come so far now, we're doing the Sinclair Broadcasting thing where we are getting messages that were decided behind the camera. Good morning, Bees Reavers. They're getting together behind the camera in their signal chats and their text messages. Does this sound familiar, Tim Dillon? Russia. Do you know what I'm saying? Does this sound familiar? The Midas Touch is on the build to be progressive Sinclair Broadcasting. I avoid them. Find their lesser people. Listen to Melba Pearson. Listen to Suri Crow. You know what I'm saying? I'm always going to recommend Tara Palmieri. You know what I'm saying? We need to get away from Midas. They are bad. They are bad. I'm saying that like I am rolling up a fucking newspaper and smacking you on the nose. Midas Touch is bad. I wish Katie Fang would join Allison Gill and build the MSW network and get away from these fucking slapnuts that mansplain to us Katie Fang, Allison Gill, and other people's work. We don't need more fucking patriarchy. With that being said, we don't need more fucking Brian Tyler Cohen doing his Sarah Longwell book tour saying, come on, Democrats, we got this. Motherfucker, you failed Kamala Harris in the last election. Why are you telling us how to do it now? Because you were paid, your group was paid Brian Tyler Cohen to help Kamala Harris win elections. And it didn't. Anyway, I'm Nick G. This is my couch. I'm gonna dip. Because America. If you're gonna believe in something, why not?